One of the most iconic video game weapons of all time, the Master Sword from the Legend of Zelda series. What makes this weapon so iconic? Is it the design? Is it the games it's in? If you're a huge fan of the Zelda series, you know it's a little bit of both. And with Zelda eventually getting a live action film, and the latest Zelda game already out, Tears of the Kingdom, let's talk about this iconic weapon as I finish it in acrylic paint and digitally clean it up in Procreate with my iPad Pro and Apple Pencil 2. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, hit that like button, ring the bell, leave a comment, and let's get to it. So just a little backstory on this weapon. It was first introduced in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. And although with 16-bit pixels, you can tell that it was a different type of a sword with its purple and bluish color. And if you look through the box art or the instruction booklet, you'll see more of the details that it has. But this iconic weapon just looks cool. Visually, it looks striking with its nice purple colors and its silver metal blade with the yellow diamond center. And normally the blade resides on a stone pedestal surrounded by a forest, and this aesthetic alone makes it look very intriguing. And several other games like The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, the official artwork is what I was inspired to get it from. This is where my acrylic painting started. I first drew it on a canvas board with pencil and used simple acrylic paint to fill it all out. Now, because I did this several years ago, the footage that I used originally was very low quality, and you can tell right here with this time-lapse drawing where I was doing it all in pencil, I was actually holding it with my hand and it looked very bad. But this was just a few seconds of this video. But here I am sketching everything out first before I lay a watercolor wash of watered down acrylic paint as my first layer. And then eventually taking a picture of it and editing it in Procreate. And that's an iPad program where you can digitally paint, and I just like the use of combinations of both just to see what you can do to correct any mistakes and just have fun experimenting with different brushes. So the main colors I used were cobalt blue, which is a dark navy blue, several different greens, and I made some gray and a tint of yellow as well. And as my second coat, I went in a little thick for the trees to make it more of a silhouette of the shadows because the beams of light are coming from the top and from the right. And I added small details like grass, mushrooms, and leaves. And for all this, I used tiny paintbrushes in both round and elongated ones as well. And because this is a small canvas board, this didn't take very long. And I really like how, because it was in the center, your focus was on the Master Sword, and it was pretty cool going in tiny details with these small detailed brushes just to get in all of those little highlights like the white on the handle of the sword, small vines, and details on the branches, and those beams of light. And one of the reasons I decided to digitally paint this and edit it was just because I wanted to see how far I can push it and if I can clean it up a little bit more. And one of the advantages of digital painting for all of you who do that is that you can experiment with different brushes and work on layers. And this won't affect your original at all. So that is how you can keep your original and see what else you can add to it. And if it doesn't look right, you can just completely erase it or change it at any time. And here what I did in Procreate was to remove all the excess borders that I don't need, erase the background and keep it as solid white as I could. And there you go, here's a clean version of it. Now here I went in the settings and balanced out all of the colors. I made them a bit more vibrant, making sure the greens and blues stand out. I also played around with the contrast, made the darks darker in the shadows, in the tree area, and I also made sure the white highlights stood out a little bit more, so I brightened the entire thing up, and I zoomed all the way in and used color burn on the purple handle just to make sure those shadows stand out, and there you go. And just by doing that, you can see the big difference in the contrast in the purples. And as I was playing around with the shadows, I noticed that I had to go in really dark in the trees, the silhouettes, and I added some vines hanging off some of those branches. And here I used some of the brushes that look like leaves as a texture, light rays to illuminate the entire thing, and add some light glows to the cement, the sword. And I even went ahead and added some flowers, some rabbits, and some flying birds, and some birds in the distance, and a few in the foreground. And what also helped push this further back was adding some trees in the distance by separating it in a different layer. It made it easier for me to use a transparency to see how subtle I wanted it to be, and this helped further push it back and have some depth to the entire painting. And again, this video started because I liked the Master Sword and I wanted to make a painting from it. And because I hadn't really done a lot of digital illustration in the past, I wanted to combine what I do most, which is traditional drawing and painting, and combine both of those mediums together and see how that would turn out and practice more with it. And here's the final result. So what did you guys think of this painting and this Zelda fan art? Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.